I start mine mid-March for my tomatoes, and yeah, like just maybe you have to follow the directions in the bed on when you should be starting them. What I find in my other workshops, so actually in this workshop that I was supposed to do in person, was define some terms. So for tomatoes for us, we if we're starting indoors, it has to be 6 to 8 weeks before last frost date. So for Manitoba, it will be between May 21 to 31st. So that so I count back. Um, so it depends on where what is your hardiness zone in the states. Um, so for example, so in BC, like for example, in BC, in Vancouver, their last frost date is like early in May. So they are a lot like earlier. So that's how you count it. Like if you read at the back of your seed packet, like number of weeks before last frost, you have to know what is your hardiness zone, and you will know from that when will be your last frost, and then you count back, and that is when you need to start, when you should start your seeds indoors. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so first thing, you have to know your hardiness zone, and then from that hardiness zone, um yeah, and then you can count back. Yes, for the question on calendar template, yes, Johnny Seeds, so that is a US company, they're from Maine, they have resources. For us Canada, West Coast Seeds, that's where I get my my these are my handouts for my workshop, because these are like the definitions, that the terms that that garden, like new gardeners need to know, so that they can garden like better. So Johnny Seeds, they yes, actually they have a calendar. If you go to the resources, you so first still you have to know your hardiness zone, you can Google that, and then in one of their sections there, you just have to put in your date. Like for example, for me, May 21st, I put in May 21st, and it would automatically tell me when I should sow my tomatoes, my peppers, and even flowers. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, so that's the one of the resources, very useful. Also almanac. So we have Canada and also the States, gives you a lot of information too. And if you're into moon planting, I'm throwing that term out because I'm not sure, but that's a thing. And some gardeners like plant depending on the moon phases, which I really wanted. I want to learn, because apparently it's really helpful. But that's one thing in my list. Yeah, so that brings me to the next point that I want to talk to, when to sow seeds. So for microgreens, anytime, as soon as you have the seeds, you have the jars, you have that strainer, start it, and then oh, that's for the, yeah, the sprouts. Yeah, start as soon as you have the seeds. And for sure, like yeah, and then have a glass and then a cheesecloth that you can put on. You can start it like right away. Microgreens you can harvest, after 2 weeks, depending still on the variety. um yeah, so and then seed pockets have excellent information. Johnny Seeds, they always have yeah, like the other like seed company, not a lot of them have information at the back, but usually their website have a lot of information as well. um So, where to garden in your house? Plants need sunlight. So I didn't bring in, but even my your chives. So we just cut the top off and then use it in garnish or cooking, and then we don't throw like the white part with the roots, and then we just like put it, in a jar with water, and then we can still like use it 2 or 3 times. And then I put it in my windowsill by my kitchen, so that it just speeds up the regrowth. um south facing window, west facing window are excellent spots in your house. This room here, it is east facing, so it gets the morning light, but it's not enough for me. That's why I have, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a light setup. And these are not grow lights. So these are for people who have the space, maybe an extra room, and you want to get growing more. My setup is just a shop light with a cool and warm lights, fluorescent. I think it's like T8, I think, or T3. I sorry, I can't remember, but it's not grow lights because grow lights are expensive setup. And I mean, if you're only growing like maybe one or two plants, and and that's fine. But if you want kind of like bigger and you really want to try growing and scale up a little bit, shop light setup is excellent because it's more economical. So just fluorescent light, but you need to have a combination of warm and cool lights, so you get the lightest spectrum that your plant need in order to grow. um, if you are apartment living, you have the space in your balcony, use it. That's what I did. That's how I kind of like started growing in Manitoba. And then I just have to watch, the shoulder season, like the tail end of spring going to summer, because sometimes, here we have the May long weekend and it's like warm, and then we put all of our plants outside, and then there's a fluke like one more day or like overnight frost, and then you leave it outside, not being aware that we will have a frost, and then everything can get wiped out. So um yeah, if you're apartment living, balcony, use that. Outside, if you wanted to start gardening at your house, you have to observe, well, south facing for sure, but sometimes you get some shades, so you kind of like have to observe where which part of your garden gets the most sun, because if you're growing tomatoes, it will need at least 8 hours. There are, but granted, but there are like plants that love shade as well, but for most produce, you need at least 8 hours of light. um yeah, is there any question about like where you can garden, or if not, we can move on to like my next point. And so yeah, so this is the exciting part, because I love getting seed catalogs. Who to get seeds from? I mentioned Johnny Seeds, so they're like a big company. They're out in Maine. They have extensive resources for any yeah, for any people who wanted to start gardening. Use it, use it, use it for your produce, for your flowers. It's great. I can't emphasize that enough. And then for Canadians, I mean, yeah, I use Johnny Seeds as well because it's very applicable to our setup as well. But West Coast Seeds, they have an excellent website as well, and tons of resources. In the States, I got my seeds from Grand Prismatic Seed as well in Utah. I'm growing some flowers and plants for a fiber farm, wool mill, which is just 20 minutes north of us. So they plant dye all their wool. That Grand Prismatic Seed, I think medicinal plants, that's their collection. um, Floret Farm. They're from Washington Valley. They have expanded now. They have like a bigger farm, but they started as a tiny operation as well. Same extensive resource for flower growing and amazing photos. Use them. You can buy seeds from them as well. There's another one, Seed Savers Exchange in Iowa. I can get their seeds from stores here. I have not bought from them online, but Johnny Seed, Grand Prismatic, Floret Farm, if you're in quarantine, online shopping, they're great. And usually Floret has some um, gifts too that they put in your delivery. Another tip. Oh, you know what? Canada too. Oh my gosh, I think it's rareseeds.com, but they are Baker Creek. I collect seed catalogs. I can keep them for years, but look at this, how thick that is. And like amazing photos. I mean, I'm not gonna be growing all that they have in the catalog, but just like all the information and kind of like wish list. Oh, I want to try the fall next year. So they have produce and flowers, and look how beautiful that is. And I think they're specialized in heritage seeds, so non-GMO. Um, Johnny, oh, you can this one. You have to buy them. I think it's like $20 US. But really nice catalog, a lot of information. But Johnny Seeds, you sign up, you request for a catalog. It's very helpful. You have information on growing conditions, how to grow your food, how to get the best germination rate. Germination meaning like from your seed. Usually it will tell you like how many days before they sprout. I keep my Johnny Seeds. I have multiple because I think I signed up like 3 emails. So I get like every year like 3 cuddles. I give them away, and you can use them for years because I mean the information doesn't change. On at the bottom it has, yeah, it will specify if they're heirloom seeds. So and when you should be when you should be planting them, and then when you transplant them, what are kind of the growing needs of the plant. So really helpful, Johnny Seeds catalog. Um, yeah. So and then from the states, West Coast Seeds, Vesies, which is in Prince Edward Island, East Coast in Ontario. I started buying from this small seed company, Apocryphal Seed, like in Ontario. So he has like specialty seeds as well for flowers, and right from Manitoba, Heritage Harvest Seeds. So they specialize in heirloom seeds. A lot of them are non-GMO as well. So these are like 100-year-old, like kind of uh, gene traits from food that we can still get growing, and they're from Manitoba. So just like supporting local seed company. And for flowers, from Manitoba, for those Canadian Lilystone Gardens as well. They're a flower farm in Manitoba, and they're on free shipping right now. Um, yeah, and this is my encouragement to you guys. If you can and is able to start sowing seeds, I think it will be a great idea to sow as much seeds as you can. And then when it gets to the time you need to transplant them, you don't have room, like just give it away. I think I just double edge, you're giving a gift of plant and food, and also like very symbolic for like hope. Um, um, yeah, the last point will be how to start a garden, and how to sow seeds. So 3 points. When you're starting plant from seeds, you need to know uh, the three things to be able to germinate your seeds. Your seed needs water, so you can't have it dry. So you have to monitor that. Usually, I water it in the morning and then check it at night. Also, oxygen or air. So meaning, um, it needs humidity. So some of my trays will have like cover, so it has humidity. But I take the cover out for like a few hours because you need the air to circulate in there, and that is the reason why we can see them like molding as well, like because there's no air circulation. I don't know if you can see, I actually have a fan in the room as well, just so that to let the air circulate in here, and then the window I have it propped open. And then the third thing, proper temperature for your seeds to germinate. Seed pockets, again, this will be plant specific. The back of the seed packets, or Google it if the information is not in the seed packet. Some seeds need heat to germinate. So I have in my setup I have heat mats. Um, it's worth um investment to have one if your house is cold. But if you have a windowsill that gets a lot of sun, use it, and then you don't have to use a heat mat. Just look around the house where you can get a lot of sun, and most likely it would have like a warm spot as well. So um yeah, so your seed need that to be able to germinate. And for some plant, not all seeds need light to germinate. Again, you will see this information at the back of your seed pockets. It will tell you do not cover or needs light to germinate. So meaning it needs to be outside where you can get sun, not outside, but like where the part of your house where you can get sun. Some of them doesn't need, so that means you can just put them, in your counter, not and not in direct sun sunlight. Yeah, so your seeds, if you're starting plants from seeds, you need water. So not soaking water, but just moist but not wet, because too much water as well can cause it to be moldy. Oxygen, so meaning if you have the cover, you have to take it out for a few hours a day because you want the air to circulate there. And then proper temperature. Some seeds need specific temperature to germinate. Tomatoes, for example, it needs warm, so you do like the heat mats. But if you don't have that, you have a windowsill that gets sun, put your seeds in there. Um, you can start. So you need potting soil or growing medium. You can buy, yeah, potting soil like in your hardware. No, like I don't know what you have there, like Canadian Home Depot greenhouses. Um, and then you don't need to buy like the trays. We have like plastic containers. You need but you have to make sure that it has a drainage hole. Um, yeah, so if you're using like you're repurposing, like for example, I don't have it with me here, but empty milk jugs, or this one is orange juice. I have water because this is for my watering my seedlings. But what I do, cut it in half, fill it with potting medium, growing medium, potting soil, and then seeds in there. Leave the top end. You kind of like cut it, not all the way through, and then put the lid back on so it has like the humidity in there. And then once it sprouts and ready to get transparent, then you just like um, yeah yeah. But if you don't need to buy any seeding tray. You can repurpose, reuse containers that you have at home. Um, yeah. Oh, and then once it germinated, meaning yeah, your seeds have the leaves. Now it needs light. So you have to put it in a place where it can get at least 8 hours of sunlight. Because if not, yes, because if not, they can get leggy. Oh, that was like that was funny story. Like the first year that I started everything from seeds, and I don't have like grow lights. We have a southwest, oh no, southeast facing window in the living room. I have a setup there, and everything was like leggy because it is following like the the light. Um, yeah. So I learned from that, and also I didn't have the fan, so a lot of them were moldy. But but since last year, I have a fan going. Like as soon as I started my seeds in there, and once they germinated, never had issue with molds. Yeah. So yeah. I have a lot. So in January, so I'm trying to grow a lot of like native plants as well. The advantage of looking what is native to your area is that your maintenance will be very low. You probably need to baby them the first few months or like a year when you have it in the garden. but since they are native to your hardiness zone, to your area, they can thrive. So I have a lot of seeds, but it's outside because they need, because we are cold here, so a lot of our native plants need that, they called stratification. So meaning they need that cold treatment. So they're all in containers. I probably have at least a dozen. I it was wet and then put them all outside, and I'll just like let nature take over, they'll thaw when they can thaw, once the snow thaw, and then hopefully most of them will germinate, and then I will either find a place for them at our place, or give it away so that people can get growing. Yeah, so that is yeah, so what you need in starting seed, your growing medium, you can get it from greenhouses, or for me here, Canadian Tire, I can get them. If you only need like one bag, then a Home Depot, those type of stores you can get them from. Container with drainage, that's very important, because you don't need the water to be stagnant. So I've been repurposing container like milk jugs, and yeah, juice containers. Um, I like trays for my microgreens. A shallow one is just easier to trim them. Heating mat, if you don't have a warm spot at your house, it's nice to invest in that if you can. If not, and you have a sunny spot at home, utilize that. Yeah, so that's all. Like I think going through my list here. Yes, Anna. Anna Marie. Yeah.
Okay, I was just messaging Lourdes to see if she wanted to meet everyone because obviously she's a great resource. I also sent a message to in the chat box that this is great apocalypse training,
Oh yeah.
and the reality of thinking about these things as we all go through this current crisis is these are skills that our parents, our grandparents, I think had naturally, and for our generation, we may not be as attuned to this or as connected. Like I said, I'm not much of a green thumb. And I do think that immigrants and people of color are more prepared for what's happening in the world right now. So I'd love to just have, if, since we have time, would you mind introducing yourself, share where you're from, and maybe like what stage of gardening you're in or what you wanted to learn from this, and maybe even if we want to do like a follow-up workshop with Lourdes, I know there's a lot to cover. So just unmute yourself if you want to share your video, that's great too, so we can put a face to the voice.
Yeah. And actually, as everyone is like thinking about Anna Marie's question, so you mentioned about apocalypse. So actually, you guys look up Epic Gardening by Kevin Espiritu. He's from San Diego, California. And actually, just this morning, yeah, I just like watched his video. I think 10 essential foods for apocalypse or something like that. It was amazing. He was yeah, and he's Filipino. He has a book now too in Epic Gardening. Kevin Espiritu.
Here's the link.
Nice.
Yeah, Elisa. Chickens are. It's in our wish list for like years now. We were in the Philippines like in January, February. We went to Ibonita. It's a farm and villa, and their chicken coop setup was like so simple. Me and my husband were like, "Yeah, that's not gonna work here because we need insulation, because it can get -40 in here." And yeah, I mean we can free range them. We our neighbor, our like so far away neighbor, they have a barn, and the chickens can still free range like in winter. But yeah, but we that's one of our wish lists. So many things that we want to build, but so little time or just patience, because not everything can happen in one season. uh yeah, I wonder like yeah,
Anyone else want to share where you're from, where your gardening skill levels are, what you'd like to continue to learn. This is a basic life skill.
I can share. Hi, it's B. I'm in Northern California. Gardening's been a really amazing way to connect with my mom and like really get connected to Filipino vegetables. My mother's side is really like a bunch of farmers, and so it's been a spiritual journey, definitely, and also like plant communication and stuff. I'm into that. So it's pretty new for me, but I told myself for a long time, Anna Marie, that I didn't have a green thumb. And then one day I was like, maybe I can garden. And I gave myself permission to like learn and screw up. And now I'm okay. I'm good. I'm pretty good at it. And my mom she grew from seed a malunggay tree. I know, it's like my most precious possession. And so I got like a little lamp for it and started like encouraging it to grow. And she's like, your tree is better than mine. I'm like, it's our tree, mama, So I encourage you, Anna Marie, you can grow.
Thank you.
Because I killed a lot of plants too. And
right in the beginning you kill them because you don't have a relationship, but it's a relationship.
Thank you, B. Thank you for sharing that. It is for sure. Like I didn't delve into that spiritual journey for me too. Like it's really grounding for me. I don't know, like 2 nights ago, Anna Marie, like we were talking with sorry, I forgot her name. But like she was talking about like the personality test. So I was on an enneagram journey. So and my personality, I'm like an enthusiast. Like I thrive being surrounded like with people and like like sensory stimulation. And then moving to the country, I didn't know that I will be affected the way that I am, because the things that are around me now, I don't know how to be grounded in this, like it was easy for me like to move from the Philippines to Winnipeg because I was right in the city, lights, coffee shops, I can meet people there. But here, it is very self-enlightening. And I feel like now for me to feel grounded, I need to know like my surroundings. I think the time when I can name the plants in our back 40, that's when the time that I will feel like grounded. And yeah, this place, this is where I am. Yeah, I'm like taking roots, but in a different realm, and it is with plants.
That's cool. I mean, it's almost like there's so much around rooting down and channeling your indigenous bloodline. Even though you're in a different place, you're in a different land, you're still trusting a lot of that wisdom and knowledge from our ancestry, your ancestry, your lineage.
Yeah, and yeah, and I'm just like learning to be okay not to know it, like not to know it right now, and just like discover it as I keep on like this journey. I'm yeah, being out here. And I feel like this self isolation thing, guys, is like I've been training for this since 2018. And now, yeah, because I only moved.
We are here on video at least.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I didn't think it would be like, now you guys know how it feels like. So yeah, as in, I never haven't told my friends, hey, come visit once this is all done, because now you guys know how to self isolate.
We're all learning new skills, I think.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Well, this was awesome. I think it would be great to do another follow-up in the future. And maybe some of us could even head outside and have an
Yeah,
outdoor garden.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Lourdes.
Hello.
Hi, Jess.
Hey, Annalisa.
Hi.
So
Okay.
we have our next workshop starting in a few minutes. Any
Oh my God, I
final
just got
words,
your email,
Lourdes?
Lisa. I meant Anna Marie. I was talking to
Oh.
Annalisa. You're all, what? You're crazy.
Yeah, so you can follow me. Yeah, so Instagram and Facebook, Masagana Flower Farm. And my website just was live since, yeah, first day of spring. So I will be keeping a lot of information there as well.